For me, and I think for many people, the referendum is about ensuring that our students have the very best education possible. It's as simple as that. We think that we have something pretty special here in District 65, and we know as we have these surging enrollments going forward that it's going to be important to make sure that we're able to accommodate them in a comfortable teaching and learning environment.
This is a community that's asked us for smaller class sizes, limited program movement, not having art on the card or music on the card, and we have 18 buildings we need to maintain. We have safe entryways that need to be developed. There is so much work we've identified. We worked hard to develop a comprehensive solution that dealt with all these issues together. And this gives us proactive planning.
Additionally, for one part of our community, it's about ensuring that another neighborhood has another great District 65 school for the students in that community to attend.
Evanston's always been forward-thinking, and the fact that we have made these decisions in Evanston to invest additional money in our schools 10 years ago, and I hope in 2012, means that we are thinking about the next generation of students and the type of students that we are producing into the world that need to compete.
And I don't think we've ever in Evanston felt like we weren't the place to be and the first place to be and where everybody should want to be. And that everybody can look to us and see this is how you do it.
I would like to see every kid be able to, at the end of the day, or even the school year, they can say to themselves, have this constant feeling of sitting right on the edge, of feeling like they're going to make a substantial contribution to humanity. And that's how it should feel every day, every week, every month that they're in school.
Word is our school is going to grow. And right now, I'm teaching in a classroom that is almost maxed out.
In our building at Lincolnwood, I mean, we're at capacity. And so we have over 437 students.
An increased class size across any student population creates a concern because when you have more students in a class, even if it's 3 more, it does limit your opportunity to engage students who may need additional support in that time you have.
And then all of a sudden you're like, boop, the bell rings, and you're like, oh, I really wanted to talk to that kid. He looked really sad coming in. I didn't have a chance to address it. It's hard.
100% capacity is sort of a sad commentary. You don't want that. You want to be able to have some space where, let's say a teacher's working on a small play with some children, they need to be able to move over to that open area in the classroom and work on that.
When we have teachers who will now be traveling, they have to go into other people's classrooms. So your Spanish teacher won't be able to create that Spanish culture in the classroom because they might be in a math classroom or a social studies classroom. So the culture is just different.
You want to be able to have dedicated classrooms for all of the arts and all of the teaching disciplines because they deserve it.
So I think it really can be an issue when you start to get to class sizes that are so big. It doesn't mean that 2 or 3 only in a class need help. There are some classes where up to 10 kids need it. And if you add 3 more, there's a pretty good chance all 3 of them are going to need some more help too. Some class sizes may get up near 30 at certain schools, and that's just almost unimaginable when you talk about some of the things that you hear from other districts where they have that kind of a high class size where you're trying to differentiate across the spectrum of learners.
I'll say about Evanston, they've done a great job at keeping the numbers low, and that I think that's what attracts a number of our families here because class sizes are not like class sizes at other places.
It's that human connection that we're longing for.
And it really impacts your ability to teach.
The children deserve it.
There's science, and a lot of people have their own preconceptions of what science is. But if you have science, technology, engineering, and math, most kids that walk in my room have no idea what engineering is.
I think in general, STEM education is really great on paper and everybody would like to do it in their district. However, there's a cost associated with that not all districts can afford.
The middle school classrooms are, for lack of a better term, somewhat archaic in that we have sinks and science tables that we have to bring in that are nothing more than just a surface to work on.
My lab is gallon jugs of water and Home Depot buckets. I have to run down to the janitor's closet, which is a couple hundred feet away, and reload
You really need to have kind of an advancement in the facilities. You need to have a lot more computing power. You need to have just a lot more space so that students can just work. And also you need to have a lot of different types of areas for the different types of learners to be able to bring their strengths to the problem. STEM curriculums tend to be hands-on. They tend to also be highly engaging because it's solving a problem. There's something that they are working towards.
And the beauty is they're not always coming to the instructor. They're looking towards each other. They're reconfiguring the tool.
It's about creating critical thinkers. It's higher order thinking problem solvers.
It allows the possibility of what if, the possibility of can we maybe? And I think that's what's so engaging for a lot of different types of learners.
Because I'm a Science Olympiad coach, not only do I coach at Haven, but I also coach in another school. And at Parkview, they have STEM labs. My kids would be thrilled from my classroom to go into those kind of classrooms.
Not only is it exciting for the teachers, it's exciting for the students. And that also leads to excitement in the home about science, which is exactly what we're trying to do.
If a school in Morton Grove can do a STEM lab, we should be doing the same thing.
And it would be a really exciting opportunity to have kids be on an even par with kids in other communities who, at the point when we talk about being ready to go to college all the time with our kids starting in 6th grade, it would give them an opportunity to have that equal ability as kids in other communities.
You cannot produce a science graduate of the college level if they weren't excited in high school, if they weren't excited in middle school, if they weren't excited in elementary.
And the new world is technology, and we need to be not behind the curve, but we need to be ahead of the curve with what we're trying to do for kids.
A neighborhood school, I think, is a heart, and I think of it as a hub. And I think of all the spokes that come into that school setting and how important that is. It feels like all pathways, all roads, all sidewalks lead to the school.
When I listen to other people talk passionately about their neighborhood and their schools and how the school is the center of their community and the parents get together and they talk together, they have coffee together. Well, when you have a community that they're going to, 3, 4, 5 different schools, you don't get that same thing.
And as I sit at home in my rocking chair, I see parents walking their children down the sidewalk. And in my better imagination, they're walking their children to school. But as I look down the corner of my window into the reality, they're walking them to the corner so that they can catch the bus to a school in another part of Evanston.
At Lincolnwood, where I'm presently at, we have kids in which they're able to walk to school, and then we have students that are actually bused in.
I was bused from 1st grade through 5th grade. I can remember distinctly what that was like and how catching the bus framed the beginning and the end of my day.
And as I walk out to go to work and the buses are zooming up and down the streets, separate from making me late to work on occasion, it's a disruption to our community.
One of the things we have at Lincolnwood, we have an extended day program. And we tried to do our extended day in the morning, and it just didn't work. It didn't work for busing reasons because the students were not able to get there on time.
And I see these families standing on street corners on, 30 below 0 days, and the buses are late.
Sometimes the kids that are on those buses don't get a chance to go up and have breakfast right to the classroom, and that's heartbreaking.
Then they get into class and all their friends are looking at them and see, look, they're late again.
After school, when I see the families out there and these kids having to go to the bus, just the visual, and the students feel that disconnect. Why do I have to go on the bus? Why can't I play on the playground? Why can't I stay and be a part of this community?
It's fragmented. It's very fragmented. There is no sense of belonging.
Growing up here provided me with an insight that I didn't realize I had till much later in life. And part of that insight was the ability to look back and realize what was missing.
When a child does not feel embraced, that they are a part of something, in this particular case, a school, they're not engaged in the learning process.
I think it's about ownership. No matter where your school is, it's about the ownership to the school and your child and their education, and feeling like the system also values their input and the education of their child as much as everybody else's.
There's a growing sense of expectation, a growing sense of respect, both given and received. And I think that's incredibly important in the school experience.
We've hosted or had meetings as far as that family focus, and we got a much better turnout of our minority parents. I mean, a room full of parents compared to when we've had meetings as far as at the school.
When I was in the Washington community and we were talking about maybe making the Washington school into a magnet school, and I remember how I felt at that time when my kids were there and how I appreciated having a school where I could walk my kids to a neighborhood school where you can build relationships.
It was the whole center of our growing up as kids. I wanted that for my kids.
I'm satisfied at the school that we attend, but that does not speak to the question of if I would want to attend a school and come out in my community if it was available.
Opportunities like this don't come around for the community, for a community to really have a voice as far as in the shaping and the developing of a school.
We have hundreds of families in the 5th Ward who have signed a petition stating that they would want to have a school in the 5th Ward.
This is a golden opportunity, not just for my son, but selfishly speaking, for my son.
It could be a model in which others come and want to know, how do we do it? To really be the lighthouse that we are, that we stand for as far as in the district. So I'm excited about it. I really am.
This school is going to be a community school, a school that is owned by, reflective of, and actually represents the core values of what education and schooling is all about.
We have so much expertise in Evanston, and we have so many bright minds, and I have no doubt that we'll create an extraordinary school.
That you're going to see a real vibrant kind of energy around the school, of parental involvement, working with teachers in partnership, that's going to inspire children in ways that perhaps they haven't been inspired before. We're going to make sure that everything is in that school so that these children are successful. If there are going to be new instructional techniques, there will be new instructional arrangements. We have an opportunity to redesign classroom space so that it addresses the new 21st century instructional challenges. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, fine arts.
These kids at this school are going to be so much further ahead in the environment they get to enjoy and share.
With outstanding teachers and instruction, the opportunity to really get them to grow and enjoy and love school, and then want to move on, talking about not only high school, but where they're going to go to college.
Perhaps that you could have a library there that would be open into the evening hours that would help the entire community raise to a new level of literacy. Children would see their parents coming into the library in the evenings. They would be in the library in the evenings with their parents. I think that could be a very powerful statement about community literacy.
A school, a facility that serves so many needs beyond the strictly academic. Having a YMCA as part of a group of youth-serving organizations that support this community, to me, is a very exciting opportunity, and one that we would like to pursue very aggressively.
I've personally talked with professors at National Louis that are very interested in being a part, and with National Louis being one of the top education colleges, in the nation, to have them to be able to come in and support would be just wonderful.
I see this as an opportunity for us to continue doing something that District 65 is good at. We're known for progressive change. There's a certain amount of inventiveness in our district that I believe has paid off for our students and our teachers, and I think this is just going to be the latest example of that.
My dream and hope is that the school becomes a magnet for the neighborhood, that it generates not just economic activity, but sidewalk activity and neighborhood activity for the neighborhood. That the school can, in many ways, not just stabilize one of Evanston's oldest and most beloved neighborhoods, but lift that neighborhood.
If I can dream a little bit, and when I see that school built, which I do see it happening, It's just a wonderful way to sort of restore something to the community that's been missing for many, many years.
I dream big, I think. And that's what I want my students and the students of the district to be able to have the capability of doing, is feeling like they have the tools and the skills necessary to do whatever they want.
My dream for my grandchildren in Evanston, amongst many other things, is for them to feel connected to their community and for them to see themselves reflected in the institutions that serve our community.
If there's ever a time to really take a look at what we're doing for our kids and how we can do it better, now's the time.
And we live the life and legacy of Dr. King. And it's important for us to keep in mind that change is so important for us as a community. And that at times we can be nervous about change, but look what's happened over many, many years and how far we've gone with the number of changes that have occurred. And we need to continue to promote that, continue to make that how we eat, live, and breathe.